I always thought my new apartment had a quirky charm, especially the old-fashioned bathroom with its large, vintage mirror. It wasn't until last Thursday night that I noticed something was amiss. As I brushed my teeth, I realized my reflection was moving slightly ahead of me, mimicking movements I hadn't yet made. It was subtle at first, raising my hand to my hair before I'd thought to do so, or turning my head a split second early. It seemed harmless, almost amusing, until it wasn't. The next morning, I stood frozen in front of the mirror, toothpaste dripping from my lips as my reflection grinned back at me, a sinister glint in its eyes. I hadn't smiled. My heart raced as I wiped the foam away, trying to convince myself it was just a trick of the light. But as the day went on, the reflections became more disturbing. They weren't just mimicking my actions, they were showing me things I hadn't done but seemed destined to happen. I saw myself dripping on the stairs, spilling coffee on my work laptop, and in the final reflection of the morning, I was lying on the floor, surrounded by paramedics. By that evening, anxiety gnawed at me, but curiosity was a stronger pull. I stepped back into the bathroom and faced the mirror. My reflection stood there, a calmness in its eyes that I couldn't muster. Slowly, it raised a hand and pointed to the cabinet under the sink. Confused, I opened it to find an old, dusty photo album I didn't recognize. Flipping through the pages, I found pictures of the apartment's previous tenants. Each photo showed them standing in front of the same mirror, their expressions growing more terrified as the pages turned. The last photo was of a woman, her eyes wide in horror, reaching out as if to escape the glass. Panic surged through me as I slammed the album shut. My reflection, now perfectly in sync with my movements, wore a look of pity, or perhaps it was amusement. The next morning, I couldn't bring myself to look in the mirror. But avoiding it was an option forever. A quick glance as I rushed out the door revealed my reflection smiling once more, a knowing smile that promised more revelations if only I dared to meet its gaze. But I knew I wouldn't. Because what it showed me was a future I desperately wanted to avoid, and I feared that in looking, I might just bring it to life.